You've seen it your whole life. The fluffy down, the tiny beak, the soft peep echoing through every barn. Somewhere in a barn right now, a chick is taking its first steps, 3 days old, no heavier than a slice of bread, balancing on legs that are still figuring out what gravity is. It is, by almost every measure, one of the most ordinary animals alive. It is also a shadow of what used to walk the earth. 75 million years ago, something hatched from an egg in these same conditions, fluffy, wide-eyed, just as fragile in its first hours. Same basic blueprint, same hollow bones, same feathers, same egg tooth chipping its way out of a shell, but larger, sharper, and with one difference that changes everything. The chick has a small horny beak and soft claws. This animal had a beak too, but it also had a sickle-shaped claw on the second toe of each foot, recurved, kept retracted off the ground, sharp from the hour it hatched. Its parents weighed half a ton. Its name is Deinonychus antirrhopus. Terrible claw, counterbalanced. Named by the paleontologist who realized, looking at the skeleton, that everything we believed about dinosaurs was wrong. And when you understand what the chick actually is, what it inherited, and what world its lineage ruled, you begin to think the word bird might not be old enough. In 1964, a paleontologist named John Ostrom was working in the badlands of Montana when he found something eroding out of a hillside. Bones, several skeletons together, which already meant something unusual, and among them, a claw. Not the curved gripping claw of a bird of prey, not the blunt walking claw of a large dinosaur. Something else, a sickle, held off the ground in life the way a switchblade is held closed until it's needed. The discovery was published in 1969. The animal was named Deinonychus, and in the years that followed, Ostrom did something stranger than naming a new dinosaur. He began arguing against the consensus of his entire field that this animal had been warm-blooded, fast, intelligent, social, and almost certainly covered in feathers. That the line between dinosaurs and birds was not a line at all. That birds were not the descendants of dinosaurs. They were dinosaurs. And the chick scratching in the dirt outside his window was carrying the architecture of Deinonychus inside it. The bones had been sitting in that hillside for 110 million years, waiting for someone to look at them properly. The sickle claw was 12 centimeters long along its outer curve. The toe was hyperextensible. The claw was held up off the ground when the animal walked, kept sharp, kept ready. When it struck, the entire weight of the animal drove through that single point. Deinonychus was about 3 meters long, 70 kilograms, the size of a wolf. Its larger cousin, Utahraptor, reached 7 meters and over 500 kilograms. Its smaller cousin, Velociraptor, was the size of a turkey. They lived on different continents in different periods, but they all carried the same body plan. Bipedal, feathered, fast, big-brained for a reptile, hunting in environments where intelligence and coordination mattered more than raw size. The modern chick has all of that, scaled down and softened. The hollow bones are still hollow. The feathers are still feathers. The same protein, the same follicle structure paleontologists found preserved on dromaeosaur fossils in China. The wishbone is still a wishbone. The brooding instinct, the way a hen settles onto her eggs and turns them with her beak, is the same instinct preserved in the fossil of an oviraptor curled over its nest 75 million years ago, killed by a sandstorm before it could leave. That fossil exists. It is on display. It is, in every meaningful way, a chicken sitting on her eggs. The chick inherited everything. What it lost was the claw. What it lost was the size. What it lost was the world that rewarded those things. It was warm-blooded. It hatched from a hard-shelled egg. It was covered in down within hours of hatching. It almost certainly imprinted on its parents, followed them, learned from them, and in every environment its family occupied. From the deserts of Mongolia to the floodplains of Montana, it was at or near the top of the food chain. The Cretaceous world, 75 million years ago. Same planet, same continents starting to look familiar. Completely different surface, warmer, wetter. Forests of conifers and ginkgos and tree ferns. Flowering plants spreading for the first time. Insects diversifying alongside them. This was not the relatively empty Cretaceous of children's books. This was a world dense with animals at every size class. Long-necked sauropods, horned ceratopsians moving in herds, duck-billed hadrosaurs by the thousands. They were prey, enormous prey, but prey. And sharing this world with the dromaeosaurs was something else. Tyrannosaurus rex, 12 meters long, 6 tons, with a bite force greater than any land animal that has ever lived. The tyrannosaur hunted big. The dromaeosaur hunted everything else. Between them, they covered the food chain. The Cretaceous was not a place that forgave being slow or unlucky or alone. We have never witnessed a Deinonychus hunt. The forests where it happened are gone. What we know about how it killed comes from the architecture of its body and the fossil record of its prey. Deinonychus was not built for the long chase. It was built for the ambush, the burst, the moment of contact. The brain endocasts of dromaeosaurs show enlarged regions associated with vision, balance, and coordination. These were the smartest predators of their world. They could plan. They could remember. They almost certainly hunted in groups, with multiple individuals taking down prey several times their size. The sickle claw drove in. The weight of the animal drove the claw deeper. The jaws followed. There was no escape from the grip. We find evidence of this in the fossil record. The famous fighting dinosaurs specimen from Mongolia. A velociraptor and a protoceratops killed mid-combat, preserved in the act, the raptor's claw embedded in the throat of its prey, the prey's beak clamped on the raptor's arm. The dromaeosaurs disappeared 66 million years ago. They had existed in one form or another for over 100 million years. And then an asteroid roughly 10 kilometers across struck what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. Impact. Firestorm. A year or more of dust and ash blocking sunlight. The collapse of photosynthesis. The collapse of plant-based food chains. The collapse of the herbivores that ate the plants. The collapse, finally, of the predators that ate the herbivores. But not all of their lineage went with them. A small branch of theropods, smaller than a Deinonychus, smaller even than a velociraptor, had been quietly evolving in a different direction for tens of millions of years. They had given up the long, stiff tail. They had given up the killing claw. They had kept the feathers. They had developed flight as an escape rather than as a hunting tool. They had grown smaller, lighter, faster to reproduce. And when the asteroid hit, when the forests burned, when the giants died, these small feathered survivors found themselves in a world that suddenly contained no large predators. They inherited the planet. The chick in the barn is descended from them. The dromaeosaurs are not its ancestors. They are its cousins, the branch of the family that didn't survive the night. In 1842, the anatomist Richard Owen invented the word dinosaur. It meant terrible lizard, and for over a century, it described animals that scientists imagined as cold-blooded, slow, stupid evolutionary failures. Then Ostrom found Deinonychus, and in the decades that followed, paleontology completely overturned almost everything that word had implied. There are roughly 10,000 living species of birds. There are roughly 5,000 species of mammals. The dinosaurs didn't lose. They are still here. They sing outside your window in the morning. They hatch in barns by the millions every spring. The chick is not what came after the dinosaurs. The chick is what the dinosaurs became. The architecture of Deinonychus, the hollow bones, the feathers, the wishbone, the brooding instinct, the warm blood, the egg tooth, all of it inherited, all of it refined. The chick is what survived, what the asteroid kept after it had stripped away the giants. Deinonychus is what the world used to be capable of building. 110 million years of silence, then a hillside in Montana, a claw eroding out of rock. A paleontologist who looked at it and understood that the line between then and now had never actually existed. That the chick following its mother across a barn floor, peeping for warmth, learning the world by walking through it, was carrying the ghost of something that, 100 million years ago, had ruled forests on every continent and waited in the undergrowth for prey it had already chosen. The world didn't forget the dromaeosaurs. They just got smaller and softer and learned to sing.